Hey friends, and welcome back to Stronger Every Day. My name is Chrissy. So today we're going to talk about improving sleep quality. So we know that when we are tired, number one, we're not as efficient as we should be. We're not as present as we should be for our family, for our jobs, our community. We're not as present for ourselves, and we struggle with exhaustion, and then surely but slowly we're giving the devil footholds because we're tired. We're too tired to kind of fight off his stupidity, and so we're allowing him foothold to create more problem. So I want to go over some things. I have struggled for years with sleep, and I've tried melatonin, and sometimes that works for me. I've not tried a prescription medicine. I just don't want another prescription, right? And so I haven't tried that. What I do use sometimes is you can get it in, I think you can get it in the powder form, but it's Calm, C-A-L-M, and it's a blueberry gummy that you can take to help you. It's got melatonin in it to help you sleep at night. I like it because I feel like I'm giving myself a treat. You know, I've told y'all that through this journey of being healthier mentally and physically, that I've cut out most sugar. I cook with sugar, like if something calls for sugar, but as far as like cakes, cookies, pies, desserts, candy, junk, donuts, I don't eat that, and occasionally I will, but I've cut it out 99%. And so it's kind of like a little treat that I'm giving myself at night, instead of like where if you want to eat a cookie or you know, a handful of goldfish or whatever, it's that little treat, and that's how I view it in my mind. I also, my multivitamin is a gummy. So I usually take it around 2ish in the afternoon, and so that's kind of my 2 o'clock little treat, you know, when you're kind of getting hungry, and I've managed to convince myself that that's my little treat. That's just me. You don't have to use a gummy, but the Calm. So I think that will help. One thing is having a fixed wake up time. So regardless if it's your off day or not, it's getting up at the same time every day. So it's getting on a routine. Routines are great for anybody, and they also help people who struggle with any sort of mental illness. It's getting your body in a routine. You don't have to think about it. It's just your routine, right? You're not having to exert mental energy. It's just the routine. So it's getting up at the same time every day, even on your off days. Now, I don't know that 30 minutes or an hour would be that much of a difference, but setting an alarm to get you up every day at the same time so that your body can get on a schedule. On the second step of that is going to bed at the same time. So going to bed on a schedule. And for me, my goal is 10 o'clock. I like to be in bed by 10. Now, does that happen all the time? No. Right? Life happens, and so there's always going to be times where we don't get the recommended 7 to 9 hours sleep. There's always going to be times we don't get any sleep. There was, you know, I remember we were at the hospital, I don't know, it's been probably a month or two ago, and we were awake. We got up that morning at 5:30. We got home at 5:30 that morning from the hospital, and then we have a homestead. So, you know, while we had people come and handle the dogs and the cats while we were gone, we still had to come in, let them out, spend a little time with them. The homestead animals needed attention. So our chickens and our goats, we had to make sure they had water and feed, and everybody was happy and healthy, check on everybody. So it was a good probably 30 hours or longer before we actually went to sleep. Things happen, but it's trying to get yourself on a schedule again, so you're not having to exert that mental energy to think about it. If you know that, barring some sort of something happening, that you go to sleep every night at 10 and you get up every morning at 5, or whatever that looks like. I'm not saying that's what you should do, whatever that looks like for you, but that you're not having to exert that mental energy. You're just doing it. Your body's on a routine. The next one is, so if you're going to nap, take a power nap. When I worked in my hometown, I worked for a doctor's office for years and years and years and years and years, since I was really young. And one of the doctors there just adored him, and he would always say, I'm gonna take a power nap. And it was literally 10 minutes. And for me, I was like, that cannot be, like, that would just tick me off. You know, if I took a 10-minute nap and then you woke me up, if I was able to fall asleep in 10 minutes and then you woke me up in 10 minutes, that would tick me off. But it worked great for him. What happens is if you have the availability to take a nap, that we tend to take an hour or a 2-hour or a 3-hour nap. And that in turn makes it harder for us to fall asleep on time. So if you're going to take a nap, take a short nap or a power nap. And for him, it was 10 minutes. And I mean, it did the trick for him. It would not work for me. I typically don't take naps because I know that I'm not going to be able to go to sleep at the end of the day. So no matter how tired I am, I typically don't take naps. Even that day that we were up for 30 hours, we slept till we slept like 3 hours, and then we got up. And of course, it was still not easy to go to bed that night, but it was easier because we were tired. So number 4 would be, again, a routine. So that's why we try to, when you think about, the most basic way I can describe it is making a recipe. When you're first learning a recipe, you're having to check that recipe 4, 5, 6 times throughout cooking it, right? But once you've made it 20, 30, 40, 50 times, for me, that's how long it takes. It might only take you 2, but you don't have to check that recipe card. It's second nature. You're not having to think about it, right? So when you're gonna make that recipe, you have everything out, you've got it in the pot or in the pan or in the dish or in the whatever, and you're going, right? You're good. You're not having to recheck. It's second nature. It's routine. It's actually makes cooking for me more enjoyable, and I'm not having to constantly recheck a recipe to make sure I'm doing it right. If I already know what I'm doing, and I can just do it and go. Same with having a routine on every day. We've talked about having a list, right? So to help motivate you and get you going. If you know I've got 4 things that I have to get done today, and I've got 12 things that I need to get done today. And so it's motivating you, even if it's just a very minute piece, to get you up and get you going. So it's setting a routine, you know, when are you going to get up, when are you going to go to bed, and then what you're doing throughout your day. So it's having a routine, keeping yourself busy throughout the day. Another one is turning off the lights. So when you go to bed, your brain naturally starts adjusting when it gets dark to get sleepy. That's just how things work, right? And I think that's when I worked midnight shift, that was one of the hardest things for me, because obviously it's daylight when you're trying to sleep. And even to this day, I'll usually cover my eyes with a little pillow so that any light stays out. And I sleep at night, but it's just a habit that I developed from working midnights. But it's keeping the light out. So if your overhead light, your bedside table light, turning those off, getting the light out. If you need blackout curtains, get blackout curtains. If you have electronic devices with little blue lights and red lights and green lights that are charging them, face them in an opposite direction, get them away from you. It's turning the lights out to let your body know it's time for us to rest. The next one is turning off your electronic devices. This is huge for me. I've talked in a previous video that as a 911 dispatcher, this is a great trait, but as a regular person, it is not. I can have the TV going, I can have the iPad going, and I can be editing a video all at the same time, and I can keep up with all 3. And it makes you a great dispatcher because you can keep up with multiple units talking to you and multiple things going on, and you know what all's going on. But when you're trying to shut your mind down at night, it's not a good thing because your mind's all over the place. And as people who struggle with mental illness, we know that calming our mind down at night is important. Even people that don't struggle, it's calming your mind down at night to get prepared to rest. A lot of times what happens to me is when I lay down, then all of the things that I have wanted to think about or needed to address, then I'll start thinking about them when I'm laying down. It's taking your phone and flipping it over so you don't see, you know, or putting it on vibrate or putting it on mute. It's turning your television off. It's turning your iPad, your computer, your laptop, whatever you're using, it's turning that off so that, again, you're preparing your brain. There's a lot of research that says the blue light from those devices stimulates your brain, so it's actively keeping you awake. I personally, at night, have to have the TV on. For me, I watch the same shows, literally the same shows, over and over and over and over and over again. I've since learned that that's a, can be, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of times people that struggle with mental illness do that. And for me, I'm interested in the show, I like the show, but I'm not engaged in it unless I want to be. So it's not perking my interest, it's not keeping me awake, it's like a background noise to help me go to sleep. It's my, what is it, the white noise or the whatever, the green noise, whatever the noise machines, that is my noise machine. But I mean, you know what's best for you, you know what works for you, but it's turning those devices off. It's not actively engaging in an electronic device. The next one is, and this one's huge for me, it's reducing caffeine. So for me, I don't drink coffee. The first thing I do in the morning is I get my breakfast and I get a diet drink, and that is my caffeine. However, depending on where I'm at in life, sometimes I drink water throughout the rest of the day. Sometimes I drink water and diet drinks throughout the rest of the day. Sometimes I drink diet drinks all day long. Not all day long, but if I'm sipping on something, it's a diet drink. And that never used to bother me. I mean, I could drink a diet drink and literally roll over and go to sleep. But I've noticed that as I've gotten older, that it does keep me up longer. And so I've actively started taking a mason jar of water with me to bed, so that if I'm thirsty, then I can reach over and drink the water versus reaching over and drinking a diet drink to get me, have me more stimulated and keeping me awake longer. So it's reducing caffeine, whatever that looks like. My in-laws, my mom and dad, I call them mom and dad, they drink coffee right before they go to sleep. I mean, every night after supper, they have at least a cup or two of coffee, and that doesn't bother them. But for a lot of people, it does. And like I said, it never bothered me up until the past probably 6 months. So I've learned that instead of taking with me, I'm the kind of person that I've always got something with me to drink, whether it's a water bottle or you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I've always got something to drink with me. And so it's a mindset of I'm going to take water instead of caffeine with me. And then if I am thirsty, then I've got that to drink. I need something with me to drink in my head at all times. The next one is move your body during the day. So if you get up and let's say it's your off day and you've been super productive throughout the week, you know, you've got all your work done, all your chores done, all your honeydews done, all your homesteading chores done, and you just have a few little here and there things, and the rest of the time you're chilling on the couch, that's going to be a little harder to go to bed because you've not exerted energy. Think of like a puppy or a kitten. If they're confined to like a room or a crate or like a bathroom or a laundry room all day, and then you get home, they're going to be a bundle of energy because they have that energy to burn, right? Puppies and kittens, they're cute, they're playful, they run around, they're exciting to watch, but that's kind of what we're doing to ourselves. We're not exerting energy, we're not moving our body, so then it's hard to go to sleep when we get home. And so just moving your body, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's a full day at work, whether you're exerting energy at your job, whether it's a workout routine, gardening, homesteading, working the land, whatever that looks like, just move your body, cleaning your house, right? It can be a plethora of things. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 45-minute a day exercise routine, although that is great. just to get your heart pumping, your endorphins going, and increases your mood. But I understand that that's not feasible for every person in every situation of every part of life. Do what you can do, right? Do the best that you can do with every day. The next thing is to block out light, which we touched on this on the turning the lights off. I know for us, we have 2 radios that have the charging light on them. So they're for the organization that we volunteer for. So one is on Nick's side table, one's on my side table. We have light casting off for both of those. And they have the little button to let you know if they're charged or not. We have our cell phones sitting on our side tables, and so occasionally those will go off and light up. We have a light from kind of across the field that sometimes peers in through the windows. So it's if you need blackout curtains, get blackout curtains. If you can turn those backwards or turn those around, those devices or those things that cast off light, do that. As I've said before, it's a trigger for your mind to know when it starts getting dark that it's time to go to sleep. And whatever you can do to get to basically trick your brain into it's pitch black dark out, and that can help you fall asleep faster. So if blackout curtains, or I remember in my mom and dad's house, we had a room, it was in the downstairs, and there was no windows in it. And actually my brother used it for a bedroom for a while, and then I used it for a bedroom for a while, because at that point I was going from probably 6 in the morning until I would get home around 11:30, and I was working 2 jobs. I was doing a program through our local police department and going to college. And so then I had to study when I got home. So I was getting, maybe on a good day, I would get 6 hours sleep, but that was rare. And again, it goes back to the sleep thing, right? You can only do what you can do. But that room was perfect because there was no light in there. And so it was nice and dark, and it just helped you get a good quality sleep, even if it was only for 5 hours a night. The next one is keep it at a comfortable temperature. I am cold natured, so I stay cold almost all year round. Now, in the heat of the summer, if I'm outside, then I will be hot. But typically, any restaurant you go to, any business you go to, church, other people's homes, the air inside is cranked because it's hot outside, and I freeze the whole time. However, the minute I get in bed, I'm hot. Like, hot. And so what we do at night, now, temperature's different for everybody, right? Our house, we keep the heat on 65, and that is, I mean, I'll wear sweatshirts. I have a blanket over my lap right now, but I'm not shivering cold, right? However, at night, that's the perfect temperature, because I like to get under blankets. I don't like to just sleep under a sheet. I like to kind of pile the blankets on, so that's a perfect temperature. 65 at my dad's house would be freezing. I think he keeps his on 74, even though that's a little warm for me, or I don't know, during the winter, he might keep it down a little lower. But even though that's a little warm for me, 65 would be freezing. It's just his house is bigger. It's got a way better air unit than I mean, ours is adequate. It suits our needs fine, but just the quality there. So whatever that looks like for you, like I said, we keep our house in the winter on 65, and that I love sleeping in that temperature, because I can just pile on the sheet, and then I have the quilt, and then we have a blanket, and I just get cozy and get warm under there. So whatever comfortable temperature that looks like for you, make sure your house is set on that. If you use a fan, use a fan. If you need a little heater, use a little heater. I'm not telling you how to do it, just whatever works for you, then use that, whatever comfortable temperature you can get. The next one is avoid large meals late. So I know, again, this is not always easy. We have responsibilities, we have obligations, we have functions, we have things we have to do. And so maybe you have to eat at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. But maybe on the nights that you have to eat that late, not a big spicy meal, something that's maybe just eat a bigger lunch and then maybe a snack, so that your body's not actively digesting all of that food while you're trying to go to sleep. Which can also, from what I've heard, and I don't know how true this, I'm not even gonna say it because I don't know how true it is, but anyway, stay away from the large meals, especially things that can maybe give you heartburn or acid reflux, or like I said, that are just taking your body a long time to process those, because that can also mess with your sleep and keep you awake. And the last one is avoid alcohol. So a lot of people say, well, I'll have a drink so I can go to sleep. Sometimes that does help from what I've heard, but also drinking alcohol causes broken sleep. So it might help you pass out at night, and I'm not saying from one drink, but it might help you pass out, but then you're having broken sleep throughout your 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours of sleep. So avoiding alcohol, it's really more just common sense stuff. It's just our lives have gotten so hectic. You know, we've talked about this in several videos, that we're busy. That's everybody's response to everything. I'm just so busy. I've got so much going on. And it's us doing everything we can to keep up with everyone else around us. And keep up with life, I'm not saying that. There's people that are struggling to make a $500 a month mortgage. I'm not saying that we shouldn't work hard and be productive. So please don't take that out of context. I try to be very chosen in my words without not being authentic, because some people, we're all in different stages of life. We mentioned this. We have friends kind of all over the spectrum. We have some that are struggling to keep a roof over their head. We have some that can keep a roof over their head, but they have no extra for anything else. We have some that don't have extra, but they just charge it anyway. And then we have some that don't worry about bills really at all, and they have extra. And then we have some that don't worry about bills at all. You know, we're all over the spectrum, and so are all of us. We're all over the spectrum on what life looks like for us. So nothing that I ever say do I want you to take in a judging or condescending way. We're all different. I'm speaking as Chrissy, as what Chrissy's living with and what Chrissy's dealing with, and what I've learned that's helped me to hopefully help you. So I hope some of these help. It's a quicker video today. Friends, I end every video this way. It's always my heart and hope that you feel this. God loves you. I love you. Your family loves you. Your friends love you. And we need you here. We'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye.